Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Akiyam. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. I would also like to give a double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I learned this 144% truth. I would also like to say peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, starting with the 144,000 men of Israel, which consists of the servants, the prophets, whom have been ordained since the foundations of this earth to sing this new song, which comes in the form of this gospel, which would be preached throughout all four corners of this earth and rest upon the ears of the innumerable multitude, men, women, and children of Israel, who may be scattered throughout all four corners of this earth. Shalom. Hey, Shalom, beloved Akiyam and Akwaf. It's just Bayan back again through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. And I just want to get into a brief live stream. Pretty much talking to this clip that came up on my feed from this Eve. Her YouTube is The Young Prophetess, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here. Khan, The Young Prophetess, which, yeah, she's in the spirit. She calls herself trying to bring understanding when it comes to the word of truth. Needless to say, she shared a quote-unquote vision she had, supposedly. And, there's a few things that she said in this 5-minute clip, that, lessons can be generated, from what she was saying. But there's one specific talking point I want to hone in on, and as you can see by the title, which pretty much comes from Acts, the 2nd chapter, upon Peter, the rock, the rock of the church, the head apostle, given that power by Yahweh Shai, pretty much during the time of Pentecost, where you had Jews, devout men, okay, gather in Jerusalem, all right, and further down in that chapter, the Spirit hit Peter and he went into a sermon, okay, and he started speaking on, he spoke on our beloved King David, right, and he mentions how King David referenced Yahweh Shai, all right, which ultimately, Lord willing, I'm actually going to go get that. But needless to say, old girl speaking on, the whole aspect of hell, that dogma that's been being pushed on our people, since cattle slavery, which was pretty much Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man's way of having control over us. Okay, see, because what our people don't understand, this modern day Christianity, all right, it's white supremacy, okay, is what it is. And it's based around pseudoscience, all right? It's oriented around Greek mythology, okay? And it puts you in the spirit of error, And at the end of the day, we're going to tap into it through the spirit and, bring understanding, to the reality of not only is there no such thing as hell, but ultimately, we all go back to the same place, man. At the end of the day, man, the scriptures say what they say. You individuals out there that are misled with certain precepts, you're stumbling at the words of the Lord. You don't have the correct context. You don't have the understanding. You're led to believe a different narrative. All right, but ultimately, the scriptures say what they say and they mean what they mean. This is why you need a teacher. Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai sent pastors according to his heart, that will ultimately feed you with knowledge and understanding. See, because the Bible's full of lefts and rights, allegorical speech, dark sayings, proverbs, okay, that can only be interpreted through a man of the Lord, all right? And for you men, women, and children that believe the report, the spirit of understanding is resting upon you, which is the Holy Spirit, right? The spirit of wisdom, knowledge, understanding, what's that, counsel, right? And ultimately, the fear of the Lord, man, which we understand the fear of the Lord, it's the beginning of wisdom. Without that, everything else is out the door. But needless to say, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Lord willing, you beloved Akiyam and Akbar for edify. I'm going to play her little clip, I was contemplating if I should play it from the 3-minute mark. It's a 5-minute little clip, you know, but the Spirit, I'm gonna just play the whole thing. I'm gonna just play it from the beginning to the end. And again, she says a few things that, you know, again, lessons can be generated from based off her false narrative or what have you. But I'm gonna hone in on the whole hell aspect. Spirit's on me to hone in on that and bring understanding to that. But needless to say, let's go to real quick. Let's go to the book of Acts real quick. Bear with me. Let's go to the book of Acts, the 2nd chapter. Now I'm going to jump down. Let me see here. I'm going to jump down to the point where Apostle Peter, you know, started going into his sermon. Let me see something. Bear with me. I'll start at verse 29, the book of Acts, chapter 2, and verse 29, and it reads, "Men and brethren, let me freely speak unto you," again, in the audience is those Jews, those devout men, okay, that came to Jerusalem for the Pentecost, man. And they came from various provinces. Matter of fact, let me jump up and make that point. So you had devout men, Jews, that came out of Parthians, this is Acts 2 and 9, and Medes, Elamites, and the dwellers of Mesopotamia, and in Judea, and Cappadocia, and Pontus, and Asia, Phrygia, Pamphylia, Egypt, parts of Libya, right, Cyrene, strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, right, Cretes, Arabians, all right, so there were Jacob coming from all over at this point, at this time, for the Pentecost. All right, now check this out. I'm going to jump back down to the point. So we know who he's talking to, right? We know who Peter's talking to now. So Acts 2 and 29, "Men and brethren, okay, let me freely speak unto you." Let me just move up a little bit. "Let me freely speak unto you of the patriarch David, that he is both dead and buried, right? And his sepulchre is with us unto this day. Therefore, being a prophet, and knowing that power had sworn with an oath to him, right, that of the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh, he would raise up Mashiach to sit on his throne," right? And ultimately, this is talking to Solomon, which was Yahushai, okay? And as a matter of fact, when you go to that prophecy, 2 Samuel, let me just jump out of this real quick. Is that 2 Samuel? Bear with me. I think that's 2 Samuel 7. Sometimes get Samuel mixed up, but I'm sure it's 2 Samuel 7, right around 18. Here we go. 2 Samuel 7 and verse 12. All right, and it reads, this is what Peter was just talking about, right? "And when the days be fulfilled, and when thy days be fulfilled," right? Talking about King David's days, right? "And thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, right? I will set up thy seed after thee, all right, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom." Who did King David have? Solomon. "Look, he shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever," man. When you go to the book of Chronicles, Solomon himself speaks on this, okay? Because Solomon was Yahushai. "Look, he shall build me a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever." Okay, showing you that this is talking about Yahushai. Ultimately, look, "I will be his father," and this is nail it. This is nail it right here. This is gonna nail it. "I should be his father, and he should be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men," right? "And with the stripes of the children of men." Solomon went off ultimately, but in his lifetime, he didn't suffer the chastisement or the rod of men during his lifetime, but he did when he came back as Yahushai, though. Okay, via him being what? Crucified, man. You see? And I just want to make that point real quick. Let's go back to Acts. I just want to make that point for edification. But anyways, continuing on in Acts, right? Acts 2 and 29 again. "Men and brethren, let me freely speak of you of the patriarch David, that he is both dead and buried, and his sepulchre is with us unto this day. Therefore, being a prophet, and knowing that power had sworn with an oath," right, with a promise to him, that of the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh, he would raise up Mashiach to sit on his throne. We just read it, right? He seeing this before spake of the resurrection of Mashiach, that his soul was not left in hell, right? Meaning what? His soul was not left in the grave. Hell means the grave or a bad condition. Okay, this is what hell's talking to. That's why what in the Hebrew it's a Sheol or Sheol, right? It means grave. It means the grave, man, right? And the Greek it's what is it? Hades. Okay, it's talking to the grave. Okay, this is what it's talking to, or a condition. All right, this is why Yahweh Shai, he made a point. I believe that's in what is that? Is that Matthew? I think it's Matthew the 10th chapter, when Yahweh Shai made the point, fear not him that can kill the body, right? But fear him that can kill the soul and body in hell. Which in that precept, when you go into the word hell, matter of fact, I think I'm gonna go get that. Let me finish this precept real quick. Yeah, Yahweh Shai is likening hell unto Gehenna. Okay, which ultimately, which is talking to the valley of Hinnom, which is was what, south of Jerusalem, man, where they will burn dead animals and trash. See, this is why you got to study. You see, you got these wacky tacky Christians. They just read the Bible and they just leave it there. Okay, they just leave it there. They read John 3:16, which we're taking John 3:16 back. Let me just make that point. We're taking John 3:16 back, man, because ultimately John 3:16 with the correct understanding, it holds weight. Okay, and if we let them weaponize any precept, right? But if we let them weaponize John 3:16, right, a precept that they don't understand, you know, in a sense, that can weaken our armor, because they don't have the correct breakdown of John 3:16. We do. You see, whether they want to believe it or not. Okay, but anyways, yeah, we're gonna get that Matthew. Let's go get that Matthew 10. Let me just read the bottom half of this real quick. Acts 2:31 again. He's seeing this before spake of the resurrection of Mashiach, that his soul was not left in hell, right? Neither his flesh did see corruption, right? Because Yahweh Shai was raised up the third day, right? Look, let's go to Matthew. Let's get that in Matthew real quick. That's the spirit. And we'll jump to this old girl's clip, if the spirit allows. Let's go Matthew 10. Bear with me. I know it's down at the bottom here, close to the bottom. Red letter, Yahweh Shai speaking. Matthew 10:28. And it reads, and fear not them which kill the body, okay, but are not able to kill the soul, man. But rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. All right, which is talking into a hellish condition. Okay, again, hell only means one of two things: the grave or condition. If you're in captivity, you're in hell. We're in hell. We're in captivity. All right. The parable of Lazarus and the rich man. In the kingdom to come, Esau is going to be in hell. Okay. Now, when you go into this word hell here in Matthew 10:28, bear with me. Let me just go to the blue letter real quick. Real fast, right? So let me see here.
Strong's G 1067. Gehenna.
Right, Gehenna. And this is what Yahweh Shai was talking to regarding what? The condition that the Lord can put you in. Being that what? Again, the valley of Hinnom, which was south of Jerusalem, was a place where they will burn dead animals in the trash. It was a hellish condition. It was a bad condition. You see? And that's what Yahweh Shai was talking to. As a matter of fact, let me see something real quick. Yeah, Khan, see? So when you go into the biblical usage, it says this. Hell is the place of the future punishment called Gehenna, which they're going off there, right? It's not a place of future punishment, but let's continue on, right? Gehenna of fire. This was originally the valley of Hinnom, south of Jerusalem, where the filth and dead animals of the city were cast out and burned. A fit symbol of the wicked and their future destruction. No, in reality, this is talking to a condition that the Lord can put you in. Yahweh Bashim Yahshua, he can have you come back in a decrepit body. Okay? That's a hellish condition, man. And my brother, Araya, my Ephraimite brother, you know, Yuaki Amanakwa see me on the front line with, right? That brother makes a heavy point. You know, I'm not trying to throw his business out there, but he makes a point regarding these individuals that are in these conditions where they're, you know, handicapped in any way, you know, they come back, you know, missing limbs or what have you. You know what I mean? That they actually understand. The brother made the point that they probably understand everything that's going on. You know? Unbeknownst to us, we're looking at them like, damn, that dude, they don't know what's going on. Nah, they do. They comprehend, understand. They just can't. They just can't express, you know, how they feel, because they're in a decrepit body that the Lord put them in. But here it is, the whole time they comprehend everything, man. But they're finished. That's the works of the Lord right there, man. You know, and I agree with that, brother. That makes a lot of sense. Because again, that's judgment. Because for you to be in our body and not know what's going on, that's not, you know what I'm saying? No, they understand exactly what's going on, man. You know? They're seeing the world around them, a functioning world around them. You know, people, you know, other people that have all their limbs or they're in their right mind, you know, and they're not capable. They're just, you know, the Lord is nothing to play with, man. Okay, the Lord is nothing to play with. But in reality, going back to the point, bringing this around full circle, this is hell. Hell being a condition or the grave. Okay, that's it. All right, there's no place where you go and burn forever. That is Greek mythology. All right, this was Esau's scheme, right, to be able to control the minds of the people through fear. Okay, this is why he plastered up a clean leper, who the people ignorantly called Jesus, man, and Most High, Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God. And he made all our forefathers and foremothers clean lepers, man. Because he put himself in the stead of that authoritative figure. Right? That if you come up against this, you go here. You see? It's a game he played, which is gonna cost him his life ultimately. You know, because he committed blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. You see? So this is the game that he played. Okay? He flipped and bounced the doctrine. He crucified our Lord Yahweh Shai, as it tells us in Revelations. You see? And he pushed forth falsehood, man. And efforts for him to be able to control the narrative, man. This is what he's done. There's no such thing as hell where you go burn forever. We're going to show you. But let's play old girl real quick. And again, the young prophetess, I'm actually going to put a... what do you call it, a thumbnail, whatever, when you put it up on the description. If you see this video, repent and stop your manners. You're not in a position where you're supposed to be teaching. You know, if you want to bring up your little visions or whatever, that's one thing. But as far as breaking down the precepts or going into the understanding of the Lord, that's not your position. You see, the flock of the Lord's pasture are men. Okay, understand that. All right, you going off. You want to please the Lord? Don't do what you've been doing. But anyways, hold on.
I was just in my kitchen.
Let's do that.
I was just in my kitchen washing dishes and just praising and worshiping, and I had I was just thinking about this experience that I had many years ago now. I could talk about that on another day, another video. But I was like trapped in between the spirit realm and the natural realm. If I could just put it out there like that. And I was just reminiscing on that. And it was just revealed to me, y'all, like hell is customized. Hell is customized, y'all. Hell for you and I, if that's our destination, it's even being prepared just in case. I don't know where that come from, y'all. I can't even say count that facts. It just popped out of my mouth, y'all. It's customized. It's tailored. It's specifically designed. Like when you get there, the torment that you will experience is customized specifically for you. Whoever is behind the other side of this video, of this phone, hell is customized for you. Please think about that. Like whatever is the most horrible things for you specifically, like we've been studied from the moment we were born. All of our fears, everything that gives us anxiety, everything that gives us restless nights, everything that will bring us to our knees and cause us to cry and weep and be in the greatest fear that you could ever imagine, has been studied from the time we were born by our enemy, y'all. And they will have your place in hell customized, tailored specifically to bring you the worst kind of torment that you could ever. We can't imagine it. We can't imagine it. Y'all, we gotta get it together. Everything that we struggling with, for me, anger, profanity when I'm angry, just out of control anger, thoughts and feelings and urges of vengeance and everything. Y'all, unforgiveness. Y'all, we gotta put these things aside. Like, we cannot take what Jesus done and think that it's a meal ticket for us to just continuously sin and do wrong in our lives, y'all. It is not. It is not. Yes, we may never be perfect here on this earth in this flesh. We may never get there. But it does not mean that we are not supposed to keep trying. You understand what I'm saying? And when you keep trying to be perfect when it comes to trying to be Christ-like,
there you go.
that requires some work and some sacrifice and some getting rid of some things out of your life, walking away from some things, cutting some things off. Like going the extra mile to prove to God, to show to God, like, I deserve to be with you. I love you. I'm committed to you. I will never do what Satan did and try to rebel against you and take your kingdom over you. Like, ain't no way. Like, I would never be a part of the third of the angels. That's our job here, is to prove to God that we are trustworthy, that we would have never been one of those ones to fall in line with Satan. He is dividing. He's dividing. And Satan and all his minions and demons and workers of iniquity, they have customized hell for us, y'all. It's waiting. It's waiting. They just hoping and waiting for the day like they could catch us up in our sin and cause us to die while we're in our sin, without an opportunity to make things right with God, so they could capture and win over our souls, so they could torment us for all eternity, as long as they're possibly allowed to do so. I'm gonna just end that there.
And like I said, you know, she says a few things that hey, lessons gonna be produced out of a few things that she's mentioned where she's obviously going off, you know. But I wanted a whole nother on the aspect of the whole hell where you're gonna be in, you know, going through torment for eternity. No, man, this is not the reality, all right, that's being spoken of in the scriptures, all right, and we're gonna show you that. But it's sad. You see her, she's under a strong delusion. She got Satan on her, right? But you got, and it's funny, right, through the spirit. And I'm gonna throw this out here. I'm gonna throw this out there. Bear with me. That video has 42 views and not one like, which is showing you what? Ultimately, at the end of the day, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, that the stronghold of Esau, you know, that veil, that covering cast he was able to put over the faces of the people, it's actually coming off. Because think about it. Not one individual has liked this video yet. You know, sure, that's just the spirit, a token to me that, you know, hey, the work that the, you know, brothers are doing, you know, it's not being done in vain. You know, it's not being done in vain, man. Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man's narrative, all right, it's being dismantled. You see, he's being found out. You know, you got people going atheists. You know, you got people tapping into other wayward philosophies, tripping, of course. You know, Jake doing that, not believing. And then you got the world coming to the conclusion that this man's a fraud. You know? And I was surprised to see that. I'm like, not one person liked this video. You know? Which was surprising. Because, you know, 20 years ago, you know, she would have had many, almost everybody on that view that would have liked it. You know? But hey, we're in that time now where the Spirit of the Lord is literally resting upon this planet Earth, man. The earth shall be filled with the knowledge and the glory of the Lord, man. Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. This is what's happening, man. See, the servants of the Lord bringing forth the true understanding. All right, but going back to the point, what I want to touch on is the main topic I hear she's mentioning, hell being customized for you specifically, right? Which is a farce, all right? Because in reality, now let's go to the precepts. And it's crazy, right? Because we've done this many times, you know? And you bring this out to an individual that's fallen victim, you know, to Esau's rhetoric, and they can't see it for what it is, even though the scriptures, the Bible that they say they believe in, is telling us where we go, what happens when we die, and they can't see it, they can't receive it, they can't believe it. You see? But anyways, let's go here. Let's go to the book real quick. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes. All right, real quick. Chapter 3 and verse 20. And it reads, all go unto one place. Okay? And by the end of this lesson, we're going to know exactly where that's at. Right? All of the dust. And of course, I'm speaking to the choir. You know, as far as you beloved Akiyam and Aqua. You know, and new listeners or individuals that stumble upon this video, you're going to come to the conclusion by the end of this video that we all go to one place. All right? And ultimately, the Father of Spirits is who is in control. Okay? Let's go. All go into one place. All of the dust. And all turn to dust again. Okay? Real quick, let me jump out of this real quick. When you jump up to Ecclesiastes chapter 12, real quick, it says this, Ecclesiastes 12 and 7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit, okay, shall return unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. It says God, right? But we understand it's Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai who gave it. Okay, Yahweh, ultimately the Father of Spirits, which gave Yahushai the blueprint to bring forth every spirit. All right, Yahweh brought forth Yahushai. This is why he's coined as the only begotten. Yahushai in reality brought forth the first fruit and every other spirit. You see, with the blueprint that was given to him by Yahweh. But that'll go over a lot of individuals' heads. You see? That's deep right there for a lot of individuals, but we understand that. All right, based off what the scriptures tell us. You see? But let's read that again. Ecclesiastes 12:7. Then shall the dust, right, this body, return to the earth as it was, and the spirit, right, shall return unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua who gave it. Okay? Meaning what? You going back to the heavens, man. Anyways, let's go back to 1 Corinthians 3. We're not done yet through the spirit. Let's go back to, 1 Corinthians. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes 3. Jumping back down to let's read verse 20 again, right? In verse 21, I'm going to make the point right there, right? All go into one place. All are of the dust, right? And all turn to dust again. Right? These bodies go back, they go back to the earth. We're made up of every element on the earth. You see? We're made up of elements. And we return back to the elements, man. Look, who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth, man. See, the spirit of the man go upward. Okay? Back to the Heavenly Father, man. You go back to the fourth dimension. Okay? Everybody does. You see? And ultimately, when you go to the book of Job, the 3rd chapter, it tells you that Job goes in. We gotta go there. Job goes crazy, man. Bringing out that point. You know, he wish he was never even born. Job elaborates on it, man. Ultimately, when you go to it only makes sense, because when you go to, I think it's 1 Corinthians, or is it 1 Chronicles? After 3 to 4 generations, 1 Chronicles, it's in a few places. After 3 to 4 generations, you come back, okay, for your judgment. That's how it plays out. Matter of fact, let me go get that real quick. It's in Numbers. Yeah, Numbers is what was on my mind. Let me hear what I said first. I thought it was on 1 Chronicles too. I could have been tripping. Yeah, Numbers. There it goes. I'm glad I grabbed that. The book of Numbers, chapter 14. I stand corrected. Forgive me. Numbers chapter 14 and verse 18. It reads, "The Lord Yahweh is long suffering and of great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression." So with this precept alone, as we're reading this precept, for you to have to go somewhere and be tormented forever, come on, man. No, it's already not adding up. But anyways, and by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity, right, of the fathers upon the children, showing you that you are your fathers, man. Look it, unto the 3rd and 4th generation. So every 3 to 4 generations, you come back. All right? Every 3 to 4 generations, the generations of roughly, 30 years? Right? So after 90 to 120 years, you back. So Jake from what? The late 1800s, 1890, 1900, we here. You see, we're all on the scene. You know, what these devils did to us, right, during the Trail of Tears. This is a few things that come to mind via, my tribe. But needless to say, hey, the Trail of Tears, Wounded Knee Massacre, man. Okay? And yeah, every other Jake, that Devil's Punch Bowl, man. Right? Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the list goes on. All these underwater cities, man. Throughout down south or what have you, man. Where Esau tried to hide and cover up his atrocities, man, he did to the tribes. See, these souls are back. Okay? And so is the ministry of Yahushua. Okay, and ultimately the spirit of Yahushua is hunting Esau, Edom, and self-proclaimed white man's steps, man. You see? But anyways, going back to the point. After 3 to 4 generations, you come back. Okay? All judgment takes place under the sun, as it tells us in Ecclesiastes. Okay? And we just made the point via precept upon precept, line upon line, all go back to one place. Okay? To Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, who made them. I got one more precept before we go to Job. The Wadi Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Why do you think it says this in Ezekiel? Yuaki, I know where I'm going. Ezekiel 18:4. And it reads, behold, all souls are mine. Okay? All souls belong to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. As the soul of the Father, so also the soul of the Son is mine. The soul that sinneth, it shall die. Okay? See? Come on, man. And that's the reality of this thing. Now let's go to Job real quick. When you go to the book of Job, the 3rd chapter, he elaborates on how his birthday is a cursed day. Okay? He was in the right spirit. Because he understood that if you're here under the sun, you're here for judgment. And at this point, Job was going through it. By Job, the 3rd chapter, he was going through it. You know? And yes, Job was a prophet. Okay? Yes, Job was a representation of the elect. You see? Because at the end, he won. At the end, he got the victory at the end. You know? Because he was able to, you know, quench the fiery darts, man, that was put upon him. He trusted in the Lord all the way through. Okay? He didn't look back. Right? He didn't curse the Lord. He didn't, like his stupid ass wife told him to do. Right? He didn't curse the Lord. No. He stuck it through. He was rooted and grounded in his power. Right? And this is how we hope to be in the days that are coming. Regardless of what trial or tribulation we go through. Glorifying the Lord as we walk through the fire, man. Let's go. Right, when you go to the book of Job, chapter 3, I could read a little bit and then jump down. Let me see here. Matter of fact, I'll start at 11. Right? The book of Job, chapter 3 and verse 11, and it reads, why died I not from the womb? Why did I not give up the ghost when I came out of the belly? Verse 12, why did the knees prevent me? Or why the breast that I should suck? Or now should I have lain still and been quiet? I should have slept. Then had I been at rest. With who? With kings and counselors of the earth, which built desolate places for themselves, or with princes that had gold, who filled their houses with silver, or as in hidden untimely birth I had not been, as infants which never saw light. There the wicked cease from troubling, man. Okay? Look, the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at rest. So ultimately, long story short, to put this all in a nutshell, death is actually mercy, man. Okay, when you really look at it, when you look at it for what it is, death is mercy. You see? Death is mercy, man. This is why you have individuals that are going to be hoping to die. All right, and to die in the times we're coming into. How grievous they're going to be. How grievous the time is going to get. But they shall not find it. right? Revelation 6, I believe that is. I believe I was talking to the First World War, but hey, what is in it now? They're not going to find death. You see, it's going to cease because the Lord is in control of death. Psalm 68, right? All issues of death of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. You see, and this is our understanding that the Lord blessed us with to where we can have a healthy fear for him. And understand that the spiritual demon Satan, okay, which is the spirit, Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, comes in the work of, pursuing the 2 Thessalonians, okay, is not in control. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is in control, not the spiritual demon Satan. Okay? The spiritual demon Satan has to get the green light, okay, by the power that we serve. Let that wrap around your head. The spiritual demon Satan has to get the green light, okay, by the power that we serve. And that this is something the world doesn't understand. The world of Israel doesn't understand that. You know? They think that Satan, but it's because of the philosophy they've been, being held captive in. You know? The philosophy, the doctrine that they believe in, that they've been given up to, right? Puts them in a position where, you know, they fear Satan, you know, and they don't fear the Lord. They don't fear who they ignorantly call God, Most High, Jesus Christ. Okay, they don't fear Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. They fear the spiritual demon Satan. Okay, which is not the way that's not the mindset to be in. We have to fear Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. He's the controller of everything. Look, let's get a little more. Let's get this again. Job 3:17. There the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at rest. Right, where? In the heavens, man. In the fourth dimension. Right there, the prisoners rest together. They hear not the voice of the oppressor. The small and great are there, and the servant is free from his master. Okay? Wherefore is light given to him that is in misery, and life unto the bitter in soul, which long for death, but it cometh not, and dig for it more than for hid treasures, man. You see? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, again, death is mercy at the end of the day, man. You go back to the Father, man. You don't want to come back. You know? Not that you're in your pure state. You know, you're in that heavenly body. You know, pure energy, man. Incorruptible. You know, just to be thrown back down under the sun, which is on earth, in a corruptible body, where you feel pain, misery, okay, and anguish, man. See, so this is the reality, man. Okay, and what the time we're coming into, let's make this point, and we're gonna be gods on this earth, man. The Israelites, our so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. We're gonna be gods on this planet Earth. Okay, we're gonna actually be in celestial and terrestrial bodies. They're gonna be celestial, heavenly, right? But they're gonna have a terrestrial, you know, makeup. Well, we're not gonna feel pain though, because we're gonna be celestial. We're gonna be gods in terrestrial bodies, man. Incorruptible, unstoppable. This is the time we're coming into, and this is the reality that Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, doesn't want you to know and understand. You know, he wants you to continue to bow down to him. Okay, he wants you to continue to allow him, all right, to have the control over the narrative. You know, he wants you to be in a position where you seek his counsel. No, man, Our counsel is of the Lord. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right? And not all nations have counsel. You know, as it tells us in Tobit. So it's a true blessing, man. You know, for us to be able to operate under the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the highest power conceivable and his only begotten son. And this is the truth of the matter. All right, there's no such thing as hell. All right, it's Greek mythology. All right, pseudoscience. And it was used by Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, to push white supremacy. But I'm going to leave you with that, Akiyam and Akwaf, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, you were edified. Abaratazah, Lord willing, you were spiritually fed. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. I'm going to leave you with that. And all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rakah Kwadash. Hey, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, where I lent this 144% truth. Lord willing, you beloved Akiyam and Akwaf will edify. Hey, Shalom.